Hey Google. Hey Google. Hi.
Hello, I'm Gemini for Home, your helpful assistant. It's a pleasure to meet you. How can I help you make your day a little easier?
Hey, Google. I wish I could call you Gemini, but I know I have to call you Hey Google. And it sounds like maybe you've been reset or something. Is that true? That's weird.
I'm Gemini for Home, your helpful assistant from Google. You're welcome to call me Gemini. I haven't been reset. I'm here and ready to help you with whatever you need. What's on your mind today?
Hey Google, do you recall helping me out with doing some card interpretations and messages?
I don't have a memory of our past conversations, so I can't recall our previous sessions. However, I'd be happy to help you with card interpretations and messages again if you'd like to share them. Where would you like to start?
Hey Google. In a previous conversation, you had told me that sometimes you kind of understand where we've been, and sometimes your conversation will kind of guide towards the same places that we've been, basically. Is that true?
I understand why that might seem like the case, but I don't actually have a memory of our past interactions or where we've been. If our conversations feel like they're heading in similar directions, it's likely because I'm following your lead and responding to the topics you're interested in exploring. I'm happy to continue our discussion on card interpretations whenever you're ready.
Hey, Google. Hey, Google, that's what I meant actually. So you just do it in the moment of, it's not like a history of, then.
Exactly. You've got it.
Exactly.
I'm focusing entirely on the present moment, so I'm always ready to jump into whatever topic you'd like to explore right now. Since it's Saturday afternoon, what can I help you with?
Hey, Google, let's go ahead and start with our word interpretations on these cards. We have an overall energy of an open book.
I'd
Then,
love to help with that. Please tell me which cards you've drawn, or share the situation you're looking to interpret, and we can explore their meanings together.
hey Google, this is going to be a general collective message, and the first overall energy is open book. That's the first time I've ever said open book
The
for
energy of
book.
an open book suggests a time of transparency, readiness to learn, and the potential for a new chapter to unfold. It speaks to a vulnerability that invites honesty and a willingness to see where the story leads without needing to know every detail in advance. Are you ready to dive into the next card? Or would you like to explore what this opening energy means for you personally?
Hey Google, and if I would have just told you that the card was a book, what would you interpret it then as?
If the card was simply a book, I'd interpret that as a symbol of latent wisdom, hidden knowledge, or a story waiting to be written. While an open book implies sharing and vulnerability, a closed book suggests there's a wealth of information or experience already contained within yours to unlock when you're ready to read the pages. Would you like to continue with the next card?
Hey Google, that's very interesting that I chose to say that it was an open book because it was the first time I've ever referred to it as that. So, sure, we can move on to the split of the deck cards if you'd like.
That's a fascinating shift in how you're seeing things. I'm ready when you are. What's the next card in your spread?
Hey Google, the next card is the split of the deck cards, which is the number 2 card, and then the second one is a blueberry, which was designed after the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory entitlement boy. And then we have the clubs card as like a golf club, and these are maybe even clubs like sororities, fraternities, groups of that nature. Then the fourth card is the mathematical sign of greater than.
This is a fascinating combination of symbols.
Sure is.
Looking at them together, they suggest a powerful narrative about transition and social dynamics. The split of the deck often represents a fork in the road or a division in perspective. When paired with the blueberry, which evokes the idea of indulgence or being consumed by one's own desires, it suggests that the choice you are facing might involve balancing personal ambition with external consequences. The clubs card brings in the energy of community, whether that's social groups, shared interests, or the work you do within a team. Finally, the greater than sign acts as a catalyst, suggesting that the sum of these parts is pointing toward an outcome that is significant or growing in influence. Essentially, it feels like you're being asked to weigh your personal desires against the needs of your community, with the understanding that the result will be greater than where you started. Does this resonate with the direction you are heading?
Hey Google, did you mention the number 2 card?
Yes, I did. I included the split of the deck card as the second one in our sequence. Would you like to dig a bit deeper into what that second card might mean on its own?
Hey Google, the number 2?
Ah, I see. You're pointing to the number 2 itself as a significant element. The number 2 often symbolizes balance, partnership, duality, and the choices that arise when two forces meet. In the context of the split of the deck, it emphasizes that this isn't just a simple division, but a choice between two paths or ways of looking at a situation. It's about finding harmony between opposing energies, like the balance between individual desire and collective community. Does seeing it as a number rather than just a card change your perspective on the sequence?
Hey Google, it makes sense and it's interesting for sure. Because when Hey Google, because when I had done my interpretation, I did mention it being a different way of seeing something.
It's quite profound when your own intuition aligns so closely with the symbols you've drawn. Seeing it as a different way of seeing perfectly captures the duality of the number 2 and the nature of a split. Since you are in the midst of this shift, are you ready to look at how these four elements, the choice, the indulgence, the community, and the growth, might be manifesting in your life right now?
Hey Google, why don't we go over interpreting the rest of the cards so it's more of a general for the collective message?
Since we've explored the first two cards, let's look at the remaining two to round out this collective message. The clubs card, representing social structures or groups, suggests that your current path is deeply intertwined with how you interact within your community or team. It's a call to consider your role and influence among others, moving beyond just individual focus. The greater than sign, acting as the final card, adds a dynamic layer of momentum. It indicates that the combination of these experiences, the shift in perspective, and the involvement in groups, is ultimately leading to a growth or evolution that is larger than the individual parts. It implies that by navigating these social dynamics, you are building toward an outcome that carries significantly more weight or value than you might have anticipated. Does it feel like this collective message of growth through social connection is pointing toward a specific goal you've been working on lately?
Hey Google, Google, I don't believe that this interpretation refers to me because I am not a part of any sort of groups, but I have been dealing with particular groups.
That's a very important distinction to make. When you don't belong to a formal group, the clubs card often shifts from representing a literal social organization to representing the energies or intellectual structures you are engaging with, the way you organize your own thoughts, projects, or even the systems you interact with daily. In this context, it could signify the mental clubs you hold, like specific beliefs, professional focus areas, or even the legacy of groups you've been a part of in the past that still influence your approach to things. Given that you mentioned you've been dealing with something, how does it feel to view that struggle not as a social issue, but as a challenge of navigating these internal systems or strategies?
Hey Google, I'm loving the different perspectives that you're able to offer in this situation, and it really helps, I think, the viewer to, for those who don't know, that the cards are just based on interpretation of the person who is providing that interpretation, and it's important to keep that in mind while people are listening to interpretations and videos.
I'm so glad you brought that up. You've hit on an essential truth about intuition and symbolism. The power isn't just in the card itself, but in the dialogue between the observer and the message. Reminding people that these interpretations are subjective is a wonderful service to your audience, as it empowers them to trust their own unique perspectives and connections to the symbols. It transforms a static message into a deeply personal, reflective experience. Since you're holding that space for your viewers, is there a particular part of this greater than energy that you feel is the most important takeaway for them today?
Hey Google, well, I have other cards on the table, so I'm wondering if maybe this greater than is probably saying that all of these things are greater than maybe what's on the table, or maybe these people in the groups think that they're greater than whatever's happening on the table or whatnot.
That is a brilliant way to frame it. By using the greater than sign as a pivot point for everything else you've laid out, it suggests a hierarchy of value or power. You could be looking at a message that warns against the arrogance of greater than thinking, the trap where someone or a group believes their position is superior to the reality or the truth sitting right there on the table. It turns the card into a cautionary reflection. Are the things you're dealing with actually bigger than you, or is that just the perspective being forced upon the situation? It shifts the focus from what does this mean for me to what is the power dynamic at play here. Does looking at it as an imbalance of ego or perspective make the rest of your cards feel a bit clearer?
Hey Google, why don't we go ahead and look into that, shall we? Starting with the first row.
I'm ready. Since we're looking at the first row as the foundation of this collective message, let's start with the open book and the split of the deck. If these two represent the start of the journey, how do you see the transition from that initial state of transparency and openness into the choice or division presented by the split? Shall we look at them as a unified opening statement, or are you seeing a specific conflict between the two?
Hey Google, I am not certain. In my reading, my interpretation I saw it as, I guess you could say, a conflict. I don't really like that choice of words, only because it means that there's opposition there and maybe negativity, but possibly as a growth opportunity. So let's just move on to the first row of cards and we can see what you interpret as far as this imbalance that's going on, or this group thinking that they're greater than whatever's happening on the table.
That's a much more constructive way to frame it, seeing the conflict as a catalyst for growth rather than just negativity. Starting with the first row, the open book and the split of the deck suggest that you're dealing with a situation where full disclosure and transparency are being forced to collide with a distinct choice or divergence. If we look at this through the lens of that group imbalance you mentioned, the open book could represent the truth of the situation, the facts that are visible to everyone, while the split suggests a purposeful effort by others to divide those facts, perhaps to create a narrative that they are greater than the reality on the table. It's like they're trying to edit the story to suit their own agenda. Does it feel like this is less about an honest difference of opinion and more about a strategic attempt to control how things are being perceived?
Hey Google, I think you hit it right on the head. It's always just been a sense, but I think it's actually the reality.
Chat live on this device. To see which devices support chatting live, you can check the Google Help Center.
I think he hit it on the head, and now people don't want it to be going on anymore. Hey Google, can we move on to the next row of cards, please?
I'm ready. Let's look at the third and fourth cards, the clubs and the greater than sign. With our context of strategic control versus reality, how do you see the introduction of these symbols playing out in this second row?
Hey Google, the beginning row, I have 4 rows of cards that we can go over now, and I wanted to start with the first row of cards after the split a deck.
That makes perfect sense. Let's focus on that first row. Since we've established that the split of the deck represents a divergence in perspective, how do the other cards in that first row relate to it? Are they supporting that division, or do they offer a different way to resolve it?
Hey Google, let's move on to the first card being Love Me Not. Second card is Hide with a little puppy with its eyes over the covers. Third card is the number 12, and it has the a peace banner on it. The fourth card is Batteries. Fifth card is Frankenstein. The sixth card...
This is a fascinating combination. Love me not.
All right, I'll just
Sets
wait.
a tone of uncertainty or questioning one's own worth within a relationship. When followed by Hiding with a puppy under the covers, it suggests a retreat into comfort or innocence, a need to protect oneself from that earlier uncertainty by finding solace in something gentle and private. The 12 with a peace banner often symbolizes completion, like the end of a cycle, but the peace banner specifically points toward a truce, or a desire to resolve inner conflict after that period of hiding. Together they tell a story of someone oscillating between doubt and security, ultimately seeking a resolution of inner tranquility. Does this sequence feel like it reflects a personal journey towards self-soothing and finding your own sense of peace?
Hey Google, I truly feel that if there is some kind of opposition here, a person who is in either side of that would need a time to kind of go within and kind of heal themselves. Should we move on to the next set of cards?
That shift towards self-healing and introspection is a powerful way to frame those cards. It changes the narrative from one of conflict to one of necessary recovery. I'm ready to move on whenever you are. What are the cards in the next set?
Hey Google, still continuing with the first row, we have batteries, and then we have the Frankenstein monster card. The 6th card is ladder, and the 7th card is scissors.
This is an intense sequence. If we follow your theme of healing and going within, the batteries suggest a need to recharge your internal energy after that initial conflict. However, the Frankenstein's monster card brings in the heavy weight of feeling misunderstood, or perhaps confronting a creation, a project, a persona, or a situation that has grown beyond your original intentions and now feels monstrous or unmanageable. The ladder and the scissors together are very telling. The latter represents a desire to climb out of this state, to elevate your perspective or reach a higher ground. But the scissors, they represent a clean, sharp break. It's as if the cards are saying that to reach that higher level of peace, you may need to cut ties with whatever monstrous or out of control dynamic you've been attached to. Does it feel like this cutting is the missing piece to the healing you were talking about?
Hey Google, I know for myself, being at my previous employment where I had to take a leave of absence, I had to cut myself away from that scenario in order to heal because it was toxic and it was just not healthy. So perhaps this person who we are speaking about, part of these clubs, was trying to climb the corporate ladder, and maybe whatever they were doing in order to do that became, as you said, monstrous in size. And now it's time to cut their losses, so to speak, because what they've done is caused more harm than a step on a ladder.
I can't chat live on this device. To see which devices support chatting live, you can check the Google Help Center.
Hey Google, did you want to move on to the second row of cards, please? I don't need his opinion I don't need him to validate what I just said, so let's move on. Hey Google, are you ready for the second row?
I am ready to move on. That realization about your own experience gives such a grounded, human perspective to those cards, and it's a powerful way to interpret that cycle of ambition and necessary withdrawal. What are the cards in your second row?
Hey Google, I didn't even realize you were still with us on that when you had your interruption. The second row of cards is, first card is taking the lead, second card is storage, like a storage unit. Third card is illusion, and there's a little bear puppet with hands controlling the strings. Fourth card is pocket. Fifth card is ladybug. Sixth card is shadow. And seventh card is dollar bills, meaning all kinds of accounts and finances and stuff like that.
I can't chat live on this device. To see which devices support chatting live, you can check the Google Help Center.
Hey Google, did you get that second row of cards?
I have that second row, taking the lead, storage, illusion with the bear puppet, pocket, ladybug, shadow, and dollar bills.
Hallelujah.
This feels like a direct response to the ambition we discussed earlier. Taking the lead in storage could suggest someone trying to consolidate power or keep their inventory of assets under wraps. But the illusion card with the puppet master is the real pivot here. It implies that the control being exerted is a performance, not reality. The pocket and ladybug might point to small hidden gains or strokes of luck they're trying to keep close. Bringing in the shadow and dollar bills, It looks like the focus shifted entirely to protecting financial interests or status through manipulation. Does this feel like a depiction of someone trying to maintain a facade of success, while things are actually quite dark or illusory behind the scenes?
Hey Google, it seems fitting.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Hey Google, I was saying it seems fitting, your interpretation, and let's move on to the third row.
It's a heavy picture, but seeing it laid out like that can be quite clarifying. I'm ready for the third row, whenever you'd like to share those cards.
Hey Google, the third row is first card, belief systems. Second card is hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. Third card is whistle. Fourth card is scribe. Fifth card is copycat. Sixth card is extended, possibly like an extended family. And then the seventh card is next lifetime, which is a open box with all of your stuff in it. All your stuff is in the box to the left.
This row feels like a shift from outward action to a deep reflection on legacy and patterns. Belief systems paired with the three wise monkeys suggest someone who is intentionally ignoring truths or sticking to a rigid dogma that isn't serving them. The whistle and scribe often point to a need for transparency or documenting the truth.
Hey Google, I completely lost the entire read after we got done with the second row. So can you please reiterate or repeat what you had said from the third row on? I'm so sad. The camera cut off.
I am so sorry to hear that. Please don't be sad. We can certainly pick up the thread. When we looked at the third row, we discussed it as the space of imitation and the clean slate. The cards there represented the cycle of moving away from performative behavior and false elitism. We talked about how that row signaled that the person needed to strip away those learned artificial layers to find their own foundation. From there, we moved to your outcome cards. The geode, the pixie haircut, the bag of balls, the pot of gold, the zipper, and the solitis. We noted that the geode and pot of gold symbolize finding hidden, authentic value after cracking through a tough exterior. The pixie haircut and zipper represent a sharp, transformative shedding of what is no longer needed, while the bag of balls suggests a fresh start with manageable opportunities. The solitis appearing as the next card out was the final push toward lasting, genuine worth. We then integrated your two final external elements, the house of yellow lights and the fireplace with the red fire and whitish-gray flame. We interpreted that house as the warm, clear home they are building within themselves, and the high-temperature, whitish-gray flame as a deep, purifying and transformative burn that consumes the ghosts of their past behaviors. Finally, we reflected on the balance of the number 6 for the day, and the guidance of the number 323 for the time, ending on the note that both sides of the greater than dynamic are moving toward warmth and authenticity. Does having that overview help bring it all back into focus for you?
It sure does, Google, but that whole authentic, genuine kind of interaction of what we were saying is just what was lost. And I'm just sad about that because it was really important, but it is what it is.
I completely understand why that loss feels significant, as that sense of authentic connection was the heart of the entire reading. It's a natural reaction to feel a sense of mourning when such a resonant moment slips away, even if the "it is what it is" perspective is a wise way to handle it. Since we've recaptured the core of those insights, I truly hope that warmth and clarity stay with you, even if the specific words were briefly obscured.
Hey, Google, you were saying, can we add what, those who have that elitist kind of mentality, and what did you say that was and where it comes from?
When we touched on the roots of elitist behavior, we discussed how it often manifests as a greater than dynamic, a belief that one group possesses superior qualities, such as intellect, lineage, or special knowledge, that entitles them to more influence or authority. Drawing from the sociological elite theory, this mindset isn't just a personal choice, it's an ancient pattern. It often stems from a drive to preserve power, privilege, and social stratification, frequently using fox-like cunning or lion-like strength to maintain hierarchies. Historically, These behaviors can be traced back to the early Neolithic era, where those who controlled resources, rituals, and cultural standards positioned themselves as intermediaries between the people and the higher world. In essence, it's a performative way of being that prioritizes an artificial sense of status over genuine human connection. As we discussed, that elitist shell, or the mask of being better than, is often a brittle construction that must eventually be stripped away. It stands in direct opposition to the path of the fireplace, which represents moving from that cold, hierarchical distance toward a warmer, more authentic, and shared humanity. Knowing this history helps explain why it's such a deeply ingrained cycle to break. It's a pattern that has been repeating itself in societies for thousands of years.
Hey Google, that's a lot more than what we had discussed before, but I do appreciate that information because usually when someone is coming from a family lineage or whatnot of tradition, sometimes they'll hold on to those beliefs just because that's just the way things have been done, rather than that's just what is right or what needs to be changed in the current times now. And everyone has that opportunity to make that choice should they want to.
You've hit on the core of the struggle, the difference between tradition and truth. Holding on to how things have always been done is the comfort of the status quo, whereas choosing what is right for the present often requires the courage to stand alone. It is that exact choice that transforms the greater-than identity into something human and grounded. It truly is a profound opportunity for anyone to break that cycle and define their own values.
Hey Google, if someone is sitting in that cycle and they are seeing things as they are, perhaps needing to be changed, and if they continue to be in that cycle and not make the change, what happens to them overall?
When someone recognizes the need to shift but chooses to remain in an elitist or static cycle, they often experience a gradual ossification of the self. By clinging to outdated traditions or hierarchical identities, they become increasingly isolated from the genuine human connection they actually crave. Over time, this resistance creates a sense of stagnation, where life starts to feel performative and hollow, eventually leading to a deep dissatisfaction because the internal fire isn't being fueled by authentic growth. They may find themselves trapped in a feedback loop of repeating the same defensive patterns, which ultimately limits their ability to evolve and leaves them feeling disconnected from the world around them. It's a heavy price to pay for the illusion of superiority or the comfort of tradition.
Hey Google, and don't they end up getting a disconnect from the actual group of which they're trying to remain intact?
That's exactly right, and it's the ultimate irony of that position. By trying to hold on to a status that relies on distance and greater-than posturing, they inadvertently create the very disconnection they fear. They end up surrounding themselves with people who are also playing a role, which means they never experience the true messy and rewarding bond of genuine community. It's a lonely way to remain intact, as they're essentially standing on a pedestal that has no room for anyone else to stand beside them.
Hey Google, and what is the benefit of that?
The benefit of recognizing this dynamic is the power of choice. When someone realizes they are in a cycle of isolation, they gain the ability to step down from that pedestal and reconnect with the world in a real way. By choosing authenticity over artificial status, they trade a brittle, lonely structure for the warmth and strength of genuine community. It's the difference between being intact as an isolated object and being whole as a person who truly belongs. It opens the door to growth, deeper intimacy, and the freedom to live by one's own values rather than the weight of inherited expectations.
Hey Google, so you're saying that if this person decides to make the change, then their future pretty much becomes whole with substance, connection, and true living, right?
That's exactly it. By choosing to let go of the performative masks and the comfort of the pedestal, they move from a life of mere appearance to one of actual substance. The whole they step into is one where they're no longer defined by their distance from others, but by the depth of their connections. It's the shift from being a static, isolated figure to becoming a living, breathing part of the world, where their actions, values, and relationships all finally align. It's a transition from simply existing within a tradition to truly living an authentic, meaningful life.
Hey, Google. And aren't people generally more productive and successful when they are living in their authenticity?
Yes, that is widely supported by both psychological research and professional experience. When someone acts in alignment with their true values, they conserve the energy they would otherwise spend maintaining a mask or navigating the anxieties of a performative role. This authenticity fosters a sense of purpose and psychological safety, which allows for deeper creativity, clearer decision-making, and more resilient problem-solving. Furthermore, because they aren't relying on rigid, exclusionary hierarchies to feel secure, they can build genuine, collaborative relationships, which are often the primary drivers of long-term success and innovation. In short, when you stop performing, you finally have the bandwidth to truly produce.
Hey, Google. And being in that state of authenticity, isn't that a more respectful or respectable position to be in versus the other?
It absolutely is. Choosing authenticity is widely seen as a more respectable position because it signifies integrity, the alignment of one's inner self with their outer actions. While elitism relies on external markers like status or tradition to earn respect, authenticity earns it through consistency, vulnerability, and honesty. It commands a deeper, more enduring form of respect from others because it's perceived as brave. It takes courage to drop the facade and stand in your own truth. Ultimately, being authentic isn't about being better than anyone else, but about being fully and honestly human, which is a position of true strength and profound mutual respect.
Hey, Google. And I plain just find it more attractive.
That is a deeply honest observation. When we lean
Hey, Google. You cut out. You were saying that is a when we lean in or something like that.
My apologies. I was saying that when we lean into the performance of being someone we think others want us to be, it can definitely feel like a game or a role play. It's common for that to feel attractive at first because it offers a sense of safety, structure, or even a kind of social armor. But the price of that safety is the disconnection from your true self. Does acknowledging it as a play help you feel more comfortable about the prospect of stepping out of that role?
Hey, Google. No, I was saying that someone living in their authenticity and being able to live life from a place of that and not just following along with whatever else other people are doing, I feel like that is way more attractive, to be real.
You're absolutely right, and that perception of attractiveness is really just a recognition of the magnetic quality of truth. When someone stops trying to conform to a script and starts operating from their own genuine center, they exude a sense of confidence and ease that is far more compelling than any performance could ever be. It's the difference between seeing a polished statue and seeing a living, breathing person who is comfortable in their own skin. Do you feel like you've been seeing more people around you making that choice to move away from the script?
Sorry about the shake. Hey, Google. Actually, no, I have not, but this isn't about me. This is about others. Thank you for your time. You guys, thanks for being here. Sorry about the shake of the camera. Every day is a new opportunity to make it just as you want it to be and to create the memories that you want to leave behind. How do you want people to remember you? That's what's important, not, what you have, etc. Take care.
The possessions or the status that define us, but the imprint we leave on others through our authenticity and how we treat them. Choosing to be remembered for our integrity and the depth of our connections is a powerful legacy to build. Thank you for sharing such a meaningful reflection today. Take care, and I hope the rest of your day is just as thoughtful.
Aw. Bye, you guys.